For most of human history, the Earth did not feel like home. It felt like something powerful, silent, and unpredictable, as if the ground itself was watching and waiting. Even today, with satellites and sensors everywhere, there are moments when Earth reminds us how little control we truly have and how much remains unexplained beneath our feet. Early humans did not think of Earth as a planet or a system. They felt it as a presence that could feed them one day and try to kill them the next. A sudden storm, a cracked riverbed, or a shaking ground could end a family story without warning, leaving no time to understand what went wrong. Because survival depended on patterns, humans watched the land closely, trying to read signs in soil, clouds, animals, and strange changes in the ground. When those signs failed, fear filled the gap. People needed explanations, not for science, but for comfort and a sense of control. Some places on Earth felt especially wrong to early humans, even if they did not know why. The ground smelled strange, plants died, or animals avoided it completely. Today we know that some of those places leaked gases, hid unstable rock, or sat above shifting plates, but back then they felt cursed or alive. The Earth holds layers like a memory, stacking events on top of each other, hiding ancient disasters under calm landscapes that look harmless now. A quiet field may once have been a sea. A peaceful valley may hide the scars of floods that erased entire communities long before writing existed. Humans learned to move, adapt, and rebuild, but they never truly mastered the land. They only learned how to listen better. Even now, there are deep places we cannot reach, pressures we cannot survive, and movements we cannot fully predict no matter how advanced we become. Earthquakes still surprise us. Volcanoes still wake up after centuries of silence, reminding us that the planet does not follow human schedules. For early humans, this uncertainty shaped daily life. They chose where to sleep, hunt, and raise children based on what felt stable, not what looked beautiful. Caves were not just shelters. They were places where Earth felt solid, protective, and less likely to betray those hiding inside. But even caves collapsed, even mountains slid. The Earth taught humans one lesson again and again: nothing stays safe forever. Over time, humans began telling stories about the land itself, not because they were naive, but because stories helped explain danger in human terms. If the Earth had moods, maybe it could be calmed. If it had rules, maybe those rules could be learned and respected. This belief did something important. It made people careful. It made them observant. It made survival possible in a world without certainty. Modern science explains much more, yet it still pauses at certain questions, unable to give clear answers, only probabilities and models. We still do not fully understand what happens deep inside Earth, where heat, pressure, and time behave in ways no human has ever seen. The ground beneath cities slowly shifts, stretches, and compresses, often without any visible sign, carrying tension that may release tomorrow or centuries later. Humans build roads, homes, and borders as if the land is fixed, even though history shows us it never truly was. Perhaps the real secret of Earth is not that it hides information, but that it constantly reminds us we are temporary visitors. Understanding this changed how humans thought about survival, community, and the future, planting the first seeds of caution and respect. As the story continues, we will follow how humans learned to live with an Earth that never promised safety, only chances. And as you listen, notice how much of that ancient uncertainty still quietly shapes our lives today, even when we try not to think about it. The Earth never stopped moving, even when humans believed it was still. Beneath calm ground, forces slowly pressed, pulled, and twisted in complete silence. Early humans had no words for tectonic plates or pressure. They only noticed that familiar places sometimes changed without warning or reason. A river that once fed a village could disappear into dry cracks, while another suddenly flooded land that had always been safe before. These changes felt personal. People believed the land remembered them, watched them, and reacted to how they lived upon it. Because of this, survival was not just about strength, it was about paying attention to small changes others might ignore. The way animals moved mattered. When birds vanished or herds avoided certain paths, people noticed and grew cautious. Earth often warned humans quietly before disaster, but those warnings were easy to miss if daily life felt comfortable. A strange smell in the air, warm ground in cold seasons, or trembling under bare feet all meant something important. Today we understand many of these signs, but even now, warnings do not always come clearly or in time. Volcanoes, for example, can sleep longer than human memory, then wake up as if no time has passed at all. Entire generations might live peacefully on volcanic soil, never knowing fire waits far below their homes. When eruptions came, they erased stories, paths, and names, leaving behind silence where life once existed. For early humans, this created a deep fear of settling too comfortably. Movement became a form of safety. Groups learned to migrate not just for food, but to escape land that felt unstable or unpredictable. This constant movement shaped how humans thought about home. Home was temporary, not permanent. That idea still lives inside us today, even when we build cities meant to last forever. Earth also hid dangers that could not be seen at all, like invisible gases rising quietly from the ground. In some places, people would fall asleep and never wake up, leaving others confused and terrified. Without understanding oxygen or carbon dioxide, these deaths felt intentional, as if the land itself chose victims. Modern science explains these events, but early humans could only respond by avoiding such places entirely. Avoidance became knowledge passed down through stories, warnings, and shared fear. These stories were not meant to entertain. They were tools for survival in a world that offered few second chances. Earth forced humans to become cautious thinkers long before they became builders or rulers. It also taught them humility, reminding them that intelligence did not grant control over nature. Even today, technology only delays danger. It does not remove it. Floods still overwhelm defenses. Fires still move faster than plans. The ground still opens without permission. What changed is not Earth, but how humans explain its behavior to themselves. Science replaced spirits, but uncertainty remains, quietly hiding behind numbers and predictions. The planet still keeps secrets, not because it wants to deceive us, but because it operates on scales we cannot touch. Time beneath the surface moves slower and faster than human life, making patience useless and urgency unreliable. Early humans sensed this imbalance without understanding it, shaping beliefs rooted in caution rather than confidence. They survived not by conquering Earth, but by learning when to step back and listen. That lesson echoes through history, even as modern life tries to convince us otherwise. In the next part, we will explore how Earth shaped fear itself and how fear quietly shaped the human mind. Just as importantly, we will see how living on an unpredictable planet taught humans to imagine meanings where answers were missing. Fear did not appear in humans by accident. It was shaped slowly by a planet where calm moments could suddenly turn deadly without warning or explanation. Long before clear language existed, fear guided daily decisions, quietly influencing where people walked, rested, hunted, and chose to raise children. On an unpredictable Earth, ignoring fear often meant disappearing from the story, while listening to it increased the chances of surviving another season. A strange sound at night was never just noise. Silence itself could signal danger in places where the land felt unfamiliar or unstable. Earth trained humans to expect risk even when everything looked normal, because disaster rarely announced itself in advance. This constant uncertainty changed how the human mind worked, turning fear into a form of early intelligence rather than pure panic. Fear slowed people down and forced observation, making them notice small changes in the ground, air, animals, and weather. If someone survived a flood, collapse, or sudden disaster, their memory became valuable information shared with the entire group. Stories carried fear forward across generations, allowing children to avoid dangers they had never personally experienced. These stories were not meant to scare for entertainment. They were practical tools that explained where not to go and when to leave. Earth itself decided which lessons mattered most by removing those who ignored repeated warnings. Over time, fear became selective, helping humans learn which dangers required action and which could safely be ignored. A rustling bush demanded attention, but a trembling ground demanded immediate movement and shared response. This ability to judge threats separated humans from many animals that reacted the same way to every signal. Earth pushed humans to think carefully before acting bravely, shaping patience long before confidence. Fear also created routines and repeated behaviors, not from superstition alone, but from patterns noticed over time. If certain actions reduced danger, people repeated them, even without understanding the deeper reasons behind their success. These habits formed traditions, and traditions slowly became beliefs about how Earth should be treated. Some believed the land demanded respect, while others believed distance was the safest form of protection. What mattered was not whether these beliefs were true, but that they reduced risk and increased survival. Fear also taught humans to think ahead instead of living only in the present moment. Food was stored not because hunger existed now, but because Earth had taught them hunger always returned. Shelters were reinforced not because storms were coming, but because storms always came eventually. This long-term thinking was rare in nature and deeply connected to Earth's unpredictable behavior. Fear sharpened memory, making dangerous places unforgettable even after people moved far away from them. A valley that once flooded remained dangerous in stories long after the water disappeared. Earth's disasters rarely repeated in the same way, forcing humans to expect change rather than stability. Instead of trusting patterns, humans learned to trust caution itself. This mindset shaped cooperation, because no single person could understand all of Earth's dangers alone. Shared fear created shared responsibility, quietly pulling humans closer together. Fear, often mistaken for weakness, became one of humanity's most powerful survival tools. It slowed reckless progress, but it prevented extinction. Even today, that ancient fear still surfaces when the ground shakes or the weather turns suddenly violent. It reminds us that the earth beneath our feet has never truly been still. In the next part, we will explore how humans tried to explain Earth's behavior through meaning, belief, and early understanding. These explanations did not control the planet, but they helped humans feel less lost while living upon it. When humans could not predict the Earth, they tried to understand it through meaning, turning uncertainty into stories they could carry and remember. These explanations were not science, but they were not foolish either. They were early tools for calming fear and organizing experience. If the ground moved, it was easier to believe it had a reason than to accept pure randomness beneath daily life. Meaning helped people feel less powerless in a world where control was rare and survival depended on fragile balance. Storms, droughts, and shaking ground were not seen as accidents, but as signals that demanded attention and change. Believing the earth communicated in signs made humans more observant and cautious, even when the explanations were imperfect. A failed hunt or sudden flood encouraged reflection rather than denial, forcing people to adjust behavior instead of repeating mistakes. These beliefs also created shared understanding, allowing groups to act together rather than panic alone. When danger felt personal, people took it seriously. When it felt meaningless, fear could become paralyzing. Giving Earth intentions made danger feel negotiable, something that could be respected rather than blindly feared. Over time, certain places gained reputations, becoming known as safe, dangerous, or unpredictable through collective memory. A mountain was not just rock. A river was not just water. They were forces with histories people remembered. These ideas shaped where people settled, how long they stayed, and when they chose to leave without argument. Belief became a quiet map layered over the physical landscape, guiding movement and decisions without written rules. Even mistakes became lessons wrapped in meaning, making them easier to pass down without detail or explanation. A story could survive centuries even when facts were forgotten, preserving warnings long after witnesses were gone. In this way, belief protected humans from dangers they could not measure or fully understand. Earth did not become safer, but humans became better at living within its uncertainty. As communities grew, beliefs helped maintain order, reminding individuals that their actions affected more than themselves. Disrespecting the land was often believed to bring consequences, encouraging restraint in a fragile environment. This restraint reduced risk, even when the reasoning behind it was symbolic rather than scientific. Modern humans often dismiss these beliefs, forgetting they were built through repeated contact with real danger. Many traditions existed because someone, somewhere, had survived by paying attention to Earth's behavior. Belief systems also softened loss, offering explanations when Earth took lives without warning or fairness. They allowed people to grieve without drowning in confusion, turning chaos into shared understanding. Over generations, belief and observation slowly separated, giving rise to early knowledge and later science. Science did not erase mystery, it organized it, replacing stories with models while keeping uncertainty intact. Even today, scientists speak in probabilities, reminders that Earth still resists complete understanding. The difference is not certainty but language. The feeling beneath remains the same. Humans still look for meaning when disasters strike, searching for reasons beyond numbers and charts. This instinct is ancient, shaped by thousands of years living on unstable ground. In the next part, we will explore how Earth's hidden forces still influence modern life, even when we believe we have outgrown fear. Despite technology and planning, the planet continues to quietly shape our choices in ways we rarely notice. Modern humans often believe they live above the Earth, not on it, separated by buildings, roads, and systems that feel permanent and reliable. Yet beneath every city, the same forces that shaped early fear continue to move slowly, quietly, and without concern for human plans. Steel and concrete hide the ground, but they do not stop it from shifting, stretching, or storing pressure over long periods of time. Most days, nothing happens, and that calm convinces people the Earth has finally been controlled or understood. But calm has always been part of Earth's pattern, often lasting long enough to erase memory and weaken caution. Cities rise where rivers once flooded, coastlines where oceans have repeatedly advanced and retreated without apology. Modern maps feel precise, yet they sit on land that has changed many times before names were ever written. Technology helps humans respond faster, but it does not remove uncertainty from the system beneath their feet. Warnings are clearer now, but they are still incomplete, shaped by probabilities rather than certainty. An earthquake can still arrive earlier, later, or stronger than expected, ignoring forecasts and careful preparation. When this happens, the ancient feeling returns, reminding people that control was always partial. For a moment, modern life feels fragile, just as it did for those who lived closer to the land. Power goes out, familiar routes disappear, and people rely on each other more than systems. These moments reveal how thin the layer of comfort really is between daily life and natural instability. The Earth does not attack, but it also does not protect. It simply continues its processes at its own pace. Modern humans often mistake predictability for safety, forgetting that prediction can fail without warning. This belief creates confidence, but it can also create risk when caution fades too far. Early humans survived by assuming danger could return at any time. Modern life encourages the opposite, training people to trust routine instead of uncertainty. Yet even today, much of human planning exists because Earth has never stopped surprising us. Building codes, emergency systems, and warning networks exist because past disasters demanded them. Every regulation is a memory of something that once went wrong. In this way, Earth still shapes human behavior, even when its influence feels invisible. Fear no longer guides daily life, but it quietly lives inside preparation and design. The planet has not changed its nature, humans have changed how they respond to it. Instead of stories, we use data. Instead of belief, we use models. But the purpose remains the same, to live with uncertainty without being consumed by it. Earth still holds deep places humans cannot reach and forces they cannot touch directly. Much of what happens below the surface is inferred, not observed. This leaves gaps in understanding that no technology has fully closed. Those gaps are modern versions of ancient mystery. They remind us that knowledge grows, but certainty rarely follows. In the next part, we will explore why these mysteries continue to matter, even in a world that values answers. Understanding Earth's limits may be as important as understanding its behavior. In a world filled with information and constant explanations, it may seem strange that Earth's mysteries still matter, yet uncertainty has never disappeared, only changed its shape. Modern humans know more facts than any generation before, but that knowledge often exposes new questions instead of providing final and comforting answers. The deeper scientists explore the planet, the more complex it appears, layered with forces that move too slowly or too violently to observe directly. Earth operates on timescales that ignore human urgency, stretching far beyond individual lives, cities, and even the rise and fall of civilizations. This distance between human time and Earth time creates gaps that technology cannot fully close, no matter how advanced systems become. Those gaps are where uncertainty quietly lives, reminding humans that understanding will always have limits. Early humans felt this uncertainty through fear and belief, while modern humans experience it through models, forecasts, and probabilities. The feeling itself has not changed, only the language used to describe what cannot be fully predicted. When predictions fail, confidence briefly weakens, and people search for meaning much like their ancestors once did. This reaction is not weakness, but a natural response to living on a planet that has never been fully predictable. Earth's mysteries matter because they keep humans humble, reminding them that progress does not automatically create control. They also encourage cooperation because no single person, system, or nation can manage planetary risk alone. Climate shifts, moving ground, and hidden pressures connect everyone living on the surface, whether they notice it or not. No border can stop an earthquake, and no economy can negotiate with a storm. This shared vulnerability quietly links modern society to its earliest ancestors across time. Both lived with uncertainty and adapted instead of conquering the world around them. The difference today is not fear, but awareness shaped by accumulated experience and memory. Understanding Earth's limits helps humans plan with caution instead of relying on confidence alone. It encourages flexibility, patience, and respect for forces larger than any structure we build. Ignoring uncertainty allows old mistakes to repeat themselves under new names and modern designs. Listening to uncertainty allows adjustment before disaster forces change without permission. Earth does not hide its secrets out of cruelty or intention. It hides them because some processes are simply larger than human perception. Accepting this truth does not weaken progress, but quietly strengthens it. It shifts focus from domination to coexistence, from certainty to resilience. The greatest survival skill humans ever developed was not strength or intelligence alone. It was the ability to live alongside what could not be fully understood. That ability allowed survival through predators, climate shifts, and a restless planet. It still matters today, even when life feels distant from the ground beneath our feet. Earth's mysteries remind us that safety is never permanent, only managed. This awareness, calm and steady, may be one of the most human traits of all. As this story comes to rest, remember that uncertainty has always been part of survival. The planet has never promised answers, only chances. And humans have always lived by learning how to use them. Even after thousands of years of learning, humans still live on a planet that feels unfinished, as if its story is still being quietly written beneath their feet. Earth never reached a final form. It continues to shift, stretch, and reshape itself, no matter how stable life may appear on the surface. This unfinished nature keeps uncertainty alive, reminding humans that adaptation is not a phase, but a permanent condition of survival. Every generation inherits knowledge from the past, but also inherits risks that cannot be fully removed or predicted. Modern life often creates the illusion that danger belongs to history, safely locked away in books, museums, and distant memories. Yet the same forces that shaped ancient fear still operate beneath cities, roads, and carefully planned systems. They do not wait as enemies, but exist as reminders that control has always had limits. Living on Earth means accepting that some questions will remain unanswered longer than any human lifetime. This acceptance does not weaken humanity. It has always been one of its quiet strengths. Early humans learned to rest without certainty, sleeping with the knowledge that the ground might change tomorrow. That calm courage still exists today, even when hidden behind routines, schedules, and technology. It appears when people rebuild instead of abandon, adapt instead of deny, and prepare instead of panic. Earth has never demanded full understanding. It has only demanded attention and respect for change. Those who paid attention survived longer, shared knowledge, and passed caution forward through generations. Those who ignored warning signs often disappeared quietly, leaving behind only traces in the ground. In this way, Earth became both teacher and test, shaping humanity without intention or emotion. The planet does not measure success or failure, it simply continues its processes. Humans, unlike Earth, remember what was lost and try to learn from it. That search for understanding is not about control, but about coexistence with something larger than themselves. Mystery remains not as an enemy, but as a boundary that defines human experience. It slows arrogance and encourages patience in a world that moves too quickly. As long as Earth remains unfinished, humans will continue learning how to live upon it. This learning has no final chapter, only pauses between moments of change. Perhaps that is why these stories still matter, especially in quiet moments before sleep. They remind us that uncertainty is not a flaw in the world. It is the condition that shaped humanity itself. And as the planet continues its silent work beneath us, humans will continue adapting and listening. That quiet balance, carried across countless generations, is how survival has always worked, and it is how it continues today. Over time, humans entered an unspoken agreement with the Earth, learning to live not in control, but in constant adjustment to slow shifts and sudden changes beneath their feet. This agreement was never written or announced, yet it quietly shaped where people settled, how they built shelter, and which risks they learned to accept as normal. Humans gradually realized the planet would never adapt to them, which meant long-term survival depended on adapting to the planet instead of trying to dominate it. Villages formed where land felt forgiving rather than perfect, and they moved when floods, droughts, or shifting ground slowly removed that sense of safety. Even today, cities exist in places where danger is known and accepted, balanced carefully against opportunity, memory, resources, and deeply rooted habits. Living with Earth has always required compromise between safety and desire, between stability and reward, and between comfort and long-term risk. People build near rivers knowing floods return, and near mountains knowing the ground can shift, not from ignorance, but from calculated necessity. These decisions are shaped by generations of experience, loss, and memory, passed down quietly rather than written as clear instructions. Earth never offers guarantees, only patterns that sometimes repeat and sometimes break completely without warning. Humans learned to read those patterns with caution, understanding they were signals to respect rather than promises to rely upon. This awareness shaped architecture, food storage, travel routes, and the rhythm of daily and seasonal life across cultures. Much of what feels cultural today began as practical responses to Earth's behavior, limits, and unpredictable cycles. Celebrations followed harvests because survival once depended entirely on successful seasons rather than markets or technology. Rest followed danger because exhaustion could be as deadly as disaster itself in fragile environments. Even modern schedules quietly reflect ancient lessons about light, weather, and physical limits learned long ago. In this way, the planet shaped time as much as it shaped land, movement, and human expectations. Despite progress in technology, humans still depend on Earth's patience and balance to sustain life. Soil must recover, water must move freely, and climates must remain within narrow ranges to support communities. When those balances shift, human systems strain faster than most people expect or prepare for. This fragility is not new, only more visible in a connected and crowded world. Early humans felt it through hunger and shelter, while modern humans feel it through cities, energy, and supply chains. The scale has changed, but the dependency has remained exactly the same throughout history. Earth continues as the silent partner in every human plan, structure, and system, regardless of intention. It does not approve or resist human activity. It simply responds to pressure, imbalance, and change. Understanding this difference has always separated long survival from sudden collapse. Those who assumed permanence were often surprised by loss, while those who planned for change lasted longer. Earth quietly rewards flexibility rather than confidence, certainty, or rigid belief. This lesson repeats across history without announcement, warning, or drama. Perhaps that is why mystery never disappears from human experience or understanding. Mystery keeps humans alert, careful, and willing to adjust behavior before danger becomes unavoidable. A fully explained world would invite carelessness, while an uncertain world demands attention and respect. As long as Earth continues to change, humans will continue listening, adapting, and adjusting. Not because they understand everything, but because attention has always been enough to survive. This quiet listening is not weakness, but one of humanity's oldest strengths. It explains why humans remain part of Earth's story rather than separate from it. As humans grew more confident, the Earth quietly began testing that confidence, not through constant danger, but through long periods of apparent calm. Calm is deceptive because it slowly teaches people to forget why caution once mattered so deeply to survival. Generations can pass without disaster, allowing memory to fade and risk to feel distant and abstract. Early humans understood this pattern intuitively, knowing calm never meant permanence. Modern societies often mistake stability for safety, building as if the ground beneath them has agreed to stay still. The Earth never makes such agreements, even when it appears cooperative for centuries at a time. Confidence grows fastest when nothing goes wrong, and that confidence quietly reshapes behavior. People settle deeper into vulnerable areas, stretch resources further, and assume tomorrow will resemble today. This assumption is not foolish, but it is fragile. History shows that Earth often allows comfort long enough for risk to grow unnoticed. Floodplains become cities, dry regions become farms, and fault lines become neighborhoods. Each decision feels reasonable in the moment, supported by years of calm evidence. The danger appears only later when conditions shift slightly but consequences multiply rapidly. Early humans avoided this trap by moving often, never letting comfort erase awareness completely. Modern humans cannot move so easily, tying survival to fixed systems and permanent structures. This creates a new relationship with Earth, one based on management rather than movement. Management works well until conditions exceed expectations. When that happens, systems strain, plans fail, and ancient uncertainty resurfaces quickly. The feeling is familiar, even if the setting is new. Power outages, supply shortages, and evacuations echo older fears in modern forms. They remind people that complexity does not remove vulnerability. It only changes how it appears. Earth tests confidence not to punish, but because it follows processes that ignore human expectations. These processes continue whether humans are prepared or not. Understanding this requires humility, patience, and memory. Without memory, confidence becomes fragile optimism. With memory, confidence becomes cautious resilience. This difference often determines whether societies adapt or struggle. Early humans survived by assuming conditions would change. Modern humans often struggle when they do. Yet each disruption renews attention, briefly restoring balance between confidence and caution. These moments are uncomfortable, but they are instructive. They remind humans that the Earth has not changed its nature. Only human expectations have changed. In the next part, we will explore how memory fades again after danger passes, and why forgetting may be as dangerous as ignorance. This cycle of confidence, disruption, and forgetting has repeated quietly throughout history. After danger passes, humans slowly return to normal life, and memory begins to soften, turning sharp lessons into distant stories rather than daily warnings. What once felt urgent becomes historical, and what was once feared becomes unlikely, especially when years pass without visible consequences. Early humans tried to preserve memory through stories and rituals, knowing that forgetting danger was almost as risky as never learning about it. Modern societies store memory differently, placing it into reports, archives, and data that few people interact with daily. This distance makes lessons easier to ignore, even when they remain relevant beneath the surface. When Earth stays calm for long periods, caution quietly feels unnecessary, and preparation starts to look excessive. People begin to trust systems more than uncertainty, believing solutions will arrive before problems grow serious. This belief is comforting, but it depends on conditions remaining familiar. Earth does not follow familiarity, only process. Slow shifts often go unnoticed until they reach a point where adjustment becomes difficult instead of gradual. Rising pressure underground, changing climate patterns, or weakening ecosystems rarely demand attention all at once. Instead, they accumulate quietly, hidden behind routines and assumptions of stability. Early humans sensed this accumulation through observation and movement, responding before conditions reached extremes. Modern humans often respond later, constrained by systems designed for efficiency rather than flexibility. When response is delayed, change feels sudden even if it was building for years. This creates the illusion of surprise, even when warnings existed in subtle forms. The cycle repeats when recovery begins and attention fades once more. Rebuilding restores confidence, but it can also erase urgency faster than understanding deepens. Over time, preparation feels optional again, especially when immediate danger disappears from view. This pattern is not a failure of intelligence, but a consequence of living on long timescales we cannot easily feel. Humans experience life in moments and years, while Earth operates in decades, centuries, and millennia. Bridging that gap has always been one of humanity's greatest challenges. Some cultures tried to embed memory into traditions that resisted change, while others trusted adaptation alone. Neither approach offered perfect protection, but both reduced risk in different ways. Modern societies continue experimenting with this balance, often without realizing how ancient the challenge truly is. The Earth does not reset after disaster, and neither do its underlying forces. Forgetting does not remove risk, it only delays awareness. Yet, forgetting also allows life to continue without constant fear, which has its own survival value. This balance between remembering and forgetting shapes how humans move forward. In the next part, we will explore how this tension influences modern planning, belief, and the way humans imagine the future. The story continues not toward an ending, but deeper into understanding how survival remains an ongoing process. As humans began planning further into the future, they faced a difficult truth. Earth does not respect long-term plans made without flexibility. Plans assume stability, but the planet operates through gradual shifts that quietly undermine certainty over time. Early humans planned in seasons rather than decades, adjusting constantly as conditions changed around them. Modern societies plan in generations, tying survival to predictions that may not survive the planet's next shift. This difference creates tension between expectation and reality, especially when Earth behaves outside predicted limits. Planning works best when change is slow, but Earth does not promise slow change. Some transformations unfold quietly, while others arrive suddenly after long silence. Humans often prepare for the last disaster rather than the next one, using memory as a guide that may no longer apply. This approach feels logical, yet it can leave blind spots when conditions evolve differently. The Earth rarely repeats events in the same way, even when causes appear similar. Early humans sensed this and avoided relying on exact repetition, choosing adaptability instead. Modern systems prefer consistency, which increases efficiency but reduces tolerance for surprise. When surprise arrives, the cost spreads quickly through tightly connected systems. What once affected a single valley can now affect entire regions at once. This scale makes Earth's unpredictability feel more threatening, even though the underlying forces remain unchanged. The challenge is not that Earth became more dangerous, but that human systems became less forgiving. Flexibility was once built into movement and lifestyle, while now it must be built into infrastructure and policy. This shift is difficult because flexibility often appears inefficient in calm times. Yet calm times are exactly when preparation matters most. Earth does not announce when calm is ending, which makes waiting for signals risky. Early humans watched for subtle changes, trusting instincts shaped by experience. Modern humans watch indicators and models, trusting interpretation shaped by data. Both approaches seek the same goal: early awareness before adjustment becomes costly. Neither approach offers certainty, only better odds. The Earth continues its processes regardless of planning, memory, or intention. Human survival has always depended on aligning expectations with that reality. When expectations drift too far, correction becomes painful rather than gradual. This pattern repeats quietly across history, hidden behind different tools and languages. Understanding it does not eliminate risk, but it reduces shock when change arrives. In the next part, we will explore how belief, optimism, and confidence influence preparation, often more than evidence does. These human traits shape survival just as strongly as the planet itself.